Asolangongo Musagiba Ochichi Yedu Yedu Diwayo Tupasi Chukuobi Mozonjanga Yebu Mozonjuyami Raya Noyadike Nadike Tupasi Chukuobi. Biafrans, Tukwasi Chukwuobi, good morning to you anywhere you are watching this video. If it is your first time of coming across this wonderful platform, Linda's TV show, you are highly welcome. If you like the kind of content we create here, kindly subscribe, put on your notification bell to all notification. This will enable you to know when we upload a new video. Here we react to all forms of videos. We inform, educate, sanitize the members of the public about what is happening in the globe. And I seize this opportunity to appreciate YouTube. You guys are so wonderful for creating and managing this platform that we are using to disseminate information to the members of the public. And at the same time, I put a disclaimer here in Linda's TV show. We do not promote misleading information, hate speech, violence, or trying to instigate war. I do not like those things, so I can never promote them in this platform. A call for self-determination is never a call for war. Please take note.
All these maladies facing Nigeria, because they are so invested in things that has no real value to them in reality, and they will kill themselves for it. So now, if people are conscious enough that you can still be very godly, religious, and at the same time sensible, without having to be a fighter for God, a strong fighter for God, who is so lazy to fight for himself, even in the face of a brazen oppression, it's because that faithful person or religious person is not politically conscious. The government's policy will destroy education. It will destroy your businesses. It will destroy your hard work. Your effort will be so devalued by people who can't create wealth. And that is how important. That is why you see people who goes into government in Nigeria, they will foam in mouth, tell you how ethnicism has divided us. Religions has sort of divided us. Tribalism is our problem. But when you look at their modus operandi, this is the source of their power. They promote them. They sponsor them. They ensure that people remain divided as much as possible. Even within a small enclave called states, you see so much monumental division orchestrated by politicians because you have allowed criminals to be in charge of your government, making critical decisions that are affecting millions of lives, while millions of people are so religiously conscious. They are so tribally, angered or triggered. But meanwhile, the poverty that is facing everybody is not sparing anyone. Whether you are a Christian or a Muslim, a Northerner, a Southerner, a Yoruba, Igala, Isoko, Nupe, Tifi, Berom, Jokun, Hausa, Fulani, and wherever, then Igbo, or Ijo, Ishekiri, wherever you come from, you can live in denial. The moment you walk outside, you will see the failure of different criminals that has taken or been in charge of every institution in that contraption. Some people believe there are exceptions. How? When you have majority of, the criminals you put in your system have empowered, they have managed to arrogate so much power to themselves that they have become so powerful and more powerful than the people they were supposed to be representing. So then some people want to do the right thing within that. But you can tell from the north to the south, from the east to the west, everywhere the poverty stares you in the face, the insecurity scares you to death, right? The dilapidated infrastructures ranging from roads to rail to schools to hospitals to important infrastructures are so much depleted because you have allowed criminals that have used the biases of your tribe, the bias of your ethnic, your religion, and so many other sundry stuff to cower you and kept you divided so that they can continue to keep power. Political consciousness. The moment a lot of you begin to understand that everything is political and even your religion is also political, and the moment you are so conscious enough, the less you'll be played or be vulnerable to be played. And that is why you are on Mayegun's Diary Political, where you are going to be reading beyond the headlines. And you are also going to be seeing the characters parading themselves as those in charge of Nigeria, ridicule themselves. Embarrass some of you to the point that you laugh to scorn in most cases, right? These are the clowns who are going to determine and decide what your future, my future will be like if we continue to stay aloof or maybe pretend that if it is not happening to me, maybe it is just being exaggerated. No, it is not. Now, here is another part. A lot of us have different solutions to what we believe could help to save our species. The first discovery is that Nigeria is a lie. And there is no amount of denial that is going to change this lie to truth. But the main question you should ask yourself is this. If Nigeria was to be a great country, okay, as they tell you that Nigeria will be great one day. If Nigeria was to be a great country, in your own opinion, I'm not trying to, I want you to kind of feel neutral now, what I'm about to push to you, okay? If Nigeria was to be a country, shouldn't Nigerians have a say in that foundation? Okay, you don't have to answer that, all right? But here is the next one. Have you, by any means, seen any country created by the colonialists that are still practicing, okay, maybe not the French ones who have now liberated themselves somehow, right? Have you seen any, probably the British created countries, okay, that still kind of exist on the template of the minority, feeling the entitlement to control the majority as a means of balance of power? Do you? Okay, you don't also have to answer that. Because sometimes some of these questions, right, they are rhetorical questions. They answer themselves. You are likely going to say no. Or maybe Yes, with examples. But let me put it this way. Nigeria has over 250 identified ethnic nationalities and tribes. So let's kind of break that down for the layman's understanding. Tribes are the small group of people, okay, who speaks the same language, culture, right? Ethnic, when they say ethnic group, this is like the group of tribes who shares a lot in common, like language, culture, tradition, maybe religion, and they may have a lot. Or again, because they also shares ancestral, affinity with themselves in a particular geographical settlement. An example is this: when they say Igbos, within the Igbos, you are going to see other smaller tribes, okay, who are part and parcel of Igbo people as a larger body of the Igbos. Another one is the Yorubas. When you look at the Yorubas, the Yorubas are the conglomeration of tribes who share so much in common. And for so long, historically, right, and with this affinity and land and all that, right, they've existed as kingdoms. As kingdom before the advent of the colonialist. So within Yoruba land, for example, you will see the Ijebus, you see the Oyos, the Egbas, you will see the Ekitis, you will see the Ondos, you will see the Oshuns, and you will see people also from the Ikales, the Eguns, and this conglomeration of us, right? Dialects is what makes us a little bit differ. And that is the tongue, which a lot of us call the accent, kind of, the dialect of how I'm going to pronounce a bottle. So what another person who is also a Yoruba will pronounce a bottle. No, because of this, right? You can now say, oh, the Hausas, you have the Hausas, okay? Within the Hausas, you have other tribes within the Hausas who identify as a body of a kingdom of Hausas. You have the Kanuris. Within that space of the Kanuris, you also, like that. These are like ethnic groups, right? But within them, they have different tribes that they share affinity in lands, language, religion, tradition, and so many. This is why they said, if Nigeria, breaking up of Nigeria, okay, is to say all of us that are forced to this contraption today. And if you want to know how this contraption is in fact created, based on the political arrangement of the British, let me remind you. You see the Adamawa you see today, who is part of Nigeria today, is originally supposed to be under the French Cameroon. And you see today's Bakassi Peninsula, Southern Cameroon. You see the entire Southern Cameroon where they speak English is supposed to be part of Nigeria today. But because when Uthman Dan Fodio staged his jihad against the leaders of the Hausas in 1807 or thereabout, when the jihad started, and the Fulanis accused the Hausa leaders of being corrupt and ungodly, through elites who just want to enjoy while their people suffer. So the jihad succeeded in the part of Hausa land. There is a part called which is the Gobir, the old Gobir, and some of us call it Gogobiri or Gobir. So Gobir is where they now situated, they call Sokoto today. Now you see that jihad is even like, it's kind of only partially succeeded in Hausa land. It did not get to Borno. You see that Borno, Bamunda, all those areas, they were supposed to be part of the old Cameroon because they resisted the Fulani then. Now, when the British came, they slowed down the jihad. The Borno people rejected them and defeated them. The Middle Belt and the Berom, the TVs, the Jukuns that are now fighting themselves today, they bonded together, defeated Uthman Danfodio. It was actually that fight that killed him. Now, British came. When British came, it was actually through conquest. Okay, that was how they conquered the northern part of Nigeria, including the Borno Empire. Okay, so what did they do? The British now, in order to create a northern Nigeria, okay, they had an agreement with the Fulanis, kind of like, we'll leave you to do your thing. We are not going to touch that. So you continue ruling the people the way you want. And then as long as we get what we want as well, then we are fine. That was the arrangement. But you know, the British now ended the Borno Empire, which cuts beyond today's Borno, Nigeria, and spread to the other part of the Adamawa, the northern Cameroon. The British, having got that, right? Or sorry, they bought it. In fact, they actually bought that from the Cameroon by renegotiating, the Borno Empire that falls into part of Nigeria. Now, here's why. The Fulani Jihad couldn't proceed to capture any other land. So when British came, they kind of settled with the Fulani. Okay, you know what? We're not going to touch anything you are doing here, okay? But we're going to create or try to bring all these other countries, because they were supposed to be their own countries. I'm going to bring them all and fuse them and create a northern Nigeria, right? And creating a northern Nigeria means the Fulani Sultan, which happened to be the grandson of Uthman Danfodio, was kind of like put in charge this time around, including the land that his grandfather, Uthman Danfodio, could not conquer. So British gave that control and said, this is northern Nigeria. So they bought that part of northern Cameroon, added it to Nigeria to create the northern Nigeria, or the biggest, so that it can suit the arrangement of northern Nigeria is more populated than the south. And therefore, they will give them the power to control the government. But down south, the Bakassi Peninsula, Calabar, down to the southern Cameroon, today's part of southern Cameroon, they were originally part and parcel of southern Nigeria. But in order to whittle down the power or the strength of the southern Nigeria they wanted to create, they decided to give independence to southern Cameroon. And when it was time for them to cede it to France, they did not even blink. They just gave them to France. That is why the southern part of Cameroon today, they speak English, because until 1947, 48, they were part of Nigeria. But when they were scheming for independence of Nigeria, southern part of Cameroon today, being part of southern Nigeria, will continue to give southern Nigeria the edge which they have had in education, they've had in secretariat management, government business, and the rest of that, which northern Nigeria didn't have. They did not open the northern part of this Nigeria they were scheming and putting together. They did not open it up to the rest of southern Nigeria until 1952 or 1953, just few years before independence. So what am I trying to bring up here? British created this arrangement to suit an agenda that never for once secured the consent of all of the fused countries. And since then, they said we should go and make it work. It's been 64 years. Generations, millions have been killed. And millions have been born into poverty. More millions are going to be born into poverty. Because they forced us to live together and try to make it work. Now, we can make it work if there is actually a platform where all of us can come together, put our different, our different demands together and say, this is going to be our demand if we are to still be part of this union. At least for the first time, let the people kind of have a say and say, okay, yeah, we want to be part of it. Oh, we don't want to be part of it. This conversation is what they don't want us to have. And that is why so many chancers, past and present, continue to tell us that they know the problem of Nigeria. They will fix it. And every now and then they say they will fix it. They dip us or dig us into more problems. And every of the problem actually claim lives. You are watching me right now because it hasn't claimed yours. But we are all just awaiting victims. All of us are going to die. Normally we are going to die. But people have died. People who shouldn't have died in Nigeria. People are dying every day. People that could have been saved. You get what I mean? Violently. A lot of people are dying in poverty in such a way that, people that could be saved with just ordinary, in today's value, just ordinary $10 could have kept a lot of people alive. And many more are still going to die. Children, women. The violence is everywhere. Because some characters are in charge, making decisions. And their decisions continue to put my life, your life in danger. But they want you and me to continue to tear ourselves apart on who is more supreme. Is it the Christians that are more supreme? Oh, it's the Islam. The God of Muslims is the best. Oh, the God of Christians is the best. Oh, it is the Fulani that are powerful. It is the Yorubas that is this. It is, we can keep up with that. Until a lot of us will become the victims, right? But I won't keep quiet. And that is why you are watching me. All right? So it can be boring. But the point here is this. We all have our different solutions to what we think should be done. I believe personally that there is nothing new that anybody is going to tell me about Nigeria. Because my own definition of Nigerian politicians is that these are people who created problems, and then they offer to solve the problem. In the course of them solving the problem, then they will create more problems so that they will have more reasons to want to solve more problems. And I think this is the pattern all over the world. But it depends on the type of problems you are orchestrating for your people. Problems that keeps them in poverty shouldn't be anything or any kind of playbook for anyone who wants to be patriotic. So when people throw the card of patriotism, it is very good to remind them that you have to invest in the people if you want them to be patriotic. And at this junction, we all must believe one thing. You must stand for something. I believe that the only thing we have not tried is what seemed to work for us before the whole thing got truncated. And I have sort of absorbed myself of something that whenever I am reading the history of Nigeria, who did what, why, when, The points I should be looking for as a student of history is to learn from that history so that I won't have to repeat them. A lot of us today are not students of history. We are prisoners of history. A lot of us still carries the hate that gave birth to where we are today. And everyone has his own story to tell. It's like we are carrying on. And this seems to be the full definition of no winner, no vanquish after the genocidal war perpetrated by the genocidists who went on to reward themselves, never to sort of, found a place of what you can call resolution, not just that, restitution too. They went on to pretend that nothing happened. And Nigeria never recovered from that. So yeah, they have tried a lot. You have tried parliamentary, it got truncated by military and political crisis. Then you tried military, it all flopped. You went back to democracy, flopped again, tried military, flopped again. Then you tried interim government, that flopped again. You went back to military, that also flopped again. Then you came back to democracy and it's about to flop again. What are you going to go back to next? Military. No, I do not believe that. You see, that conversation they don't want us to have is the conversation you and I and the generation that is now being born must ensure that they have. Why are we in this contraption? Who brought us here? And who says we can't actually have a chat or a renegotiation of this? How many lives do we actually have to sacrifice or kill? How many dreams do we have to destroy or kill before we all come back to our senses that we could actually go back and try something that the worst case scenario, go back and try something that worked for us then. Let everybody control their own affair. Let the Igbos control their own affairs. Raise their own taxes and then, build their own economy. Let them dredge their own river and call it their own seaport. Let them build things for themselves in a way that at least you won't continue to pretend and say nobody is holding them when we all know that the entire system is holding them. Let the Yorubas also, let's face our own people. And maybe at worst case scenario, when everybody goes back to their own different regions, we are regionalists. Guys, there's nothing called one Nigeria. It's a fraud. The whole idea is just to make sure that all of us would have to actually do things according to the 7.7% Fulanis in Nigeria. And the robbery there too. If you are a Fulani watching me, if you are politically conscious, it will be time for you to begin to reject these criminals too. They have used you for far too long. The poorest people in Nigeria today are Fulanis. And don't give me that bullshit about, they are rich. Don't give me that nonsense. They were supposed to be those in power in Nigeria. But they have built a system whereby intentionally, systemically, they have been so incapacitated. They are the poorest in Nigeria. The next poorest people in Nigeria are the Bayansans. Can you even imagine that? The Ijaws. Can the Ijaws even believe that? Watching me right now. Can you not even feel like impossible? It's a lie. But I'm saying the truth. And all of us share in the ratio of this poverty. So it's not working for everybody. It's not working for anybody. You being a Fulani and see how the entire system is rigged against you. But in your name, in the name of your own tribe, the entire Nigeria is up in arms. while the criminals who pretend to be Fulani, Hausa, this other. In fact, some of them who are not even Fulani, they pretend to be Fulani since they are from northern Nigeria, because that's exactly how they believe they could get away with anything. But go and look at the real Fulanis. Go and look at the Fulanis in their different communities. You will find them and come back and tell me that it actually reflects on them. The northerners. I am a northerner. We are born to rule. No, you are born to suffer. If you are politically conscious enough, you will see this, that you have no other enemy than those who have been using your name to rob the rest of Nigeria in cahoot with their friends from other parts of Nigeria. So nobody is kind of enjoying anything. The entire system is created and saturated with so much grift. Grifters, they call them. Criminals who kind of are living up, their meal ticket is to say they are Fulanis, they are Northerners, they are this, they are Muslims. But go and look at the poverty basket of Nigeria. And then you realize that these guys don't represent you. But because you are not politically conscious enough, you have been told the Yorubas are your enemy. The Igbos are your enemy. This one is your enemy. That one is your enemy. If they are coming, they will come and kill you. But the people that are supposed to actually protect you, they don't really give a damn. They will kill you first. So you need to stand for something. I stand for the breakup of Nigeria. And I will stand by that anytime, any day. And I believe there is already an army that is being mobilized consciously. I told you that the breakup of Nigeria is not going to be because I want it or because you don't want it. It is going to be solely on the criminals you continue to allow into the system. Let them continue to divide you, Igbo versus Yoruba, Igbo versus Fulani, Fulani versus this and that. And then you realize that one of these days, you will be a pro-Biafra. You will be a pro-Yoruba nation. You will be a pro-Kwarafa Republic, the Middle Beltans. You will be a pro-Arewa Republic. It is their failure that will break Nigeria up. And that's why sometimes when I give you my message, I tell you that Nigeria has created a lot of force. The failure of these criminals has created a lot of force that are currently wandering about in disagreement with this contraption called Nigeria. Even those of you who want one Nigeria, you don't want this Nigeria, do you? At least a lot of you are complaining. Which kind of country is this? How this our leader? We were supposed to kill our leaders. That means you disagree with this current Nigeria. Abi? So simply put, you are being pushed slowly, steadily to the camp of break it up. Once they begin to do the right thing, the idea of Biafra, the idea of Yoruba nation, the other ideas of this, they can begin to be diluted. Because people will begin to feel like, oh, if we have Biafra, is this not what we are going to do? Run our own government, do our own things our way. Why don't we just run our own self for a while before we have Biafra? Kind of a thing. Abi? But this one that they are turning yourselves versus yourselves, and they are stealing and looting the country. The education, the healthcare of young people are being compromised. The future is here already. So the implosion is just a matter of time. The breakup of Nigeria is a matter of time. What we are trying to do is to try and see to it not being violent and bloody. But save for these criminals, they will want us to burn ourselves, kill ourselves before Nigeria finally break up. But with the politically conscious people, you will not give them that. We will go after them Because you see, day by day, they are already helping different groups to recruit the army of liberators, those that would demand for the breakup of Nigeria. But politically conscious people are concerned that if a revolution is going to happen, this revolution has to happen from within first, the revolution of the mind, where your mind is so clear, not polluted with hate, tribal, jingoism, religious fanaticism, all those things, where your vision is clear. When people scream revolution, 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 sit them down, ask them to explain to you, what do you mean revolution? And can you really tell what would this revolution be about? Majority have no answer. Their own idea of revolution is, let us clear out this our leader away. Let us get rid of them. We need to fight them. It is just a campaign of rage with no clarity. But with the politically conscious people who have a clearer idea of what they are going to demand for, then with these politically conscious people as an army that can take a stand and make an effect, until we have that army, which I strongly believe that we will have, these criminals are not going to change. If you them, they will never stop. And the more they do this, the more a lot of you are going to join us. But for those who don't believe in outright breakup of Nigeria, I respect them. Like I said, stand up for something. Try it. When you stand for something, it is so possible that at the end of the day, you may actually, your own group may actually be the trigger point that the rest of other angry, politically conscious, clear-minded individual groups would also activate. And that's why I encourage that. Do not condemn those who have taken a stand, even if the stand is totally opposite what you think is the solution. Do not help Tifnumbu and gang to gaslight those who are standing up for something, because it is always their easy peasy thing to infiltrate any group they consider a threat to the establishment. And you must see, when people come together to face an establishment, right, you must see beyond the individual. That is the head of the rod. And that is one easy way to get you to disarm and say, they just want to gang up against Tifnumbu. No. Don't ever fall for that. Tifnumbu is just one guy. There are thousands who are using the rotten system to perpetuate the level of never seen before criminality, crimes against humanity, robbing you of your future, of your life. So when you want to talk about establishment, you must not say Tifnumbu, because that could be anybody. If Tifnumbu drag his feet, he could be there for 80 years if you let him. And they will do shege to you until you stop them. Tomorrow it could be somebody else. The establishment produces criminals, and that is what has to go. The establishment from the world level to the presidential level, It is the system that created them. That system will continue to shun out tens of thousands of those rogues who are leeches. That is what has to go. And anybody who has a sort of an inkling of anything that could trigger it, don't condemn them. Okay? Sometimes even if you feel like they are not doing it right, yeah, I would rather just keep quiet. Because they're doing something, right, could mean us and what we are doing as well, even be valuable too. Because at the end of the day, now everybody will still come together and face their fear. And that is that establishment. So that is what will now bring me to the talk of this alliance. This is the first time I am actually like speaking from the heart. So why you have to take this, this community more serious than us trying to just want to talk. Because we are not just talking. Okay? What we do here reflects on the lives, the real life issues of people. And some of them will watch, others won't. Okay? So, Atiku came out. Let's not forget, Peter Obi is actually yet to say anything. And this is simply because he has the obedient. Now, Atiku has told the world that is pretty much willing to work with all interested parties to come together to come and remove Tifnumbu. I do not agree with that. I do not condemn it. And this is where and what all of us must, if you genuinely believe that Nigeria is done for, and something has to happen and be done before the whole thing implode. I am not saying done to save Nigeria. Nobody can save Nigeria. But this is just for those of you who still believe in Nigeria. And to those of you who don't believe in Nigeria too. Oh, my pen is not working. There's something I actually wanted to list out for what I'm about to say. A lot of us, I'll start with those of us who don't believe in this one Nigeria, new Nigeria, or any other name some of you are giving it. There's nothing new that we have never heard. And the reason why everything will end point of lamentation is because there is a system that is intentionally put in place to ensure that you will be represented by the worst among you. But that can be corrected. And that is for those of you who believe in, still believe that Nigeria could be remedied. Nigeria cannot be remedied the way you want to. Or maybe your action can trigger what will eventually lead to the bigger conversations. That's why I'm saying this now, right? We don't believe in Nigeria because we don't believe in a system that you have one center that is so powerful that it can decide the fate of the rest of us. Okay? So we don't believe that. And that's what Nigeria represents. We don't believe that, we don't believe in a system that one person is going to come. The idea of if one person can come and destroy a system, another person can come and rebuild that system for the betterment of others. But because we have seen that before, okay? we have seen a situation whereby they ran Nigeria aground and another regime came and rebuilt it. Then he left, another one came and destroyed it. And many others came after and ruin and destroyed. You see all this ruinous and destructive, history. They actually claimed lives of people. There are those whose trajectory of life got destroyed because of all these successive criminal governments in Nigeria. So we then said, okay, if you want to make Nigeria, you still want to keep Nigeria, then let everybody come together and say, okay, this is going to be the terms for us to still be part of this Nigeria. Among that term is that autonomous, autonomy for all the regions who want it. There's nothing called federal government that is going to be controlling anybody. Sure you get. So that is the least Nigeria. Those of us who don't believe in Nigeria, that's the least, the closest. We would like to be part of that contraption. The closest where autonomy is, and you know what I mean. So because I don't believe that. Doesn't also mean that in my own world, I'm not far left and far right. I'm kind of in between, whereby I will be logical that, okay, could you possibly project a system that could eventually emerge where all this kind of conversation could be had? Then I can give you a benefit of the doubt, right? But for those of you who believe in one Nigeria, okay, here the problem is the system, not actually the person in charge. All right. We've seen it before, and we are seeing it right now under Tinubu and gang. So we believe that if the entire system is dismantled, somebody like Peter Obi can be the premier of Eastern region. And now, if it's going to be like your picture of one Nigeria, of equity, fairness, and just system, right? Then you would, number one, to me, is like a delusion, okay? But out of respect, I also have to tell you that your one Nigeria dream of making Obi maybe president is going to actually come from the area of compromise. You would have to to pretend that the thieves are not in the room. Can you do that? Yeah. You would have to pretend that the destroyers of Nigeria, they are not that bad after all. Obedience. You would have this alliance talk to those of you who kind of support it. And without it, nothing can really happen. Okay? Nothing can really happen. But I'm just saying. So you have to like thieves. You know, some of you would have to come here. You know, you like me now. So some of you will probably not comfortable me calling a thief coup. You get that kind of thing, right? You will have to pretend that they are not that bad. Can you do that? Now, if you are dreaming of any alliance with these guys, you would have to agree that a lot of them would have to use Peter Obi as a vehicle back to power. And you would have to be instrumental to that. So now when you take a look at it that way, then you can also kind of roll it back a little bit as well, that in such meetings, it would have to guarantee them that they could keep their loot. Do you understand what that means, alliance? That we are going to do everything. We're going to talk to the emirs. We're going to talk to all of these guys. We're going to ensure that you are next. And yeah, they would have to play dirty, rough, and all that. So you would have to I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I am saying, if what attracted you to Peter Obi that you believe as a man, if he has that chance and the power that the president wills, like you believe in Nigeria, okay, he could turn things around. All right. So if you are attracted to him that way, you would have to get used to accepting all of the corruption allegation, the criminalities of all these guys that are going to come on board. Okay. What will happen, right? Now, here is what Atiku is suffering. After meeting with Obi, he said PDP will decide his fate, but on his own, as an individual, he is ready to step down for Peter Obi in 2027 if PDP abid the alliance zone.
Hello my wonderful people, as you have finished watching this interesting video, please, I want to see your comment, your contribution, your opinion in the comment section. Like I said earlier, let us do it constructively. Tell me what you think about this video that you have just watched, and also about the platform. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please remember to subscribe, put on your notification bell, share this video, and remain blessed.